guys, Sawadee Cup. We're going to work today on working covers for hooks into our shadow boxing and our work on the heavy bag. So Paige is going to help me demonstrate so that you guys can get some idea of what we're actually doing here when you don't have an actual opponent. You're going to, when you do this on your shadow boxing or on the heavy bag, you're going to imagine that there's a person there and you're just going to block nothing. Okay? But I'm going to show you guys how this is effective. So when Paige throws that hook at me, she's a southpaw, but she's gonna throw her left hook first, like most orthodox fighters who throw their left hook first. So when she throws that left hook, it's gonna be on my right side. I'm gonna point my elbow at her, and I'm gonna turn my rear heel out a little bit, and I'm gonna grab my ear with my glove. So what I'm doing here is I'm making myself a set of headgear so that when that hook hits me, it doesn't hit my head at all. It just hits my shoulder and my bicep. So if I'm here with Paige, when she throws that left hook, I just cover up and it doesn't hit my head. Okay, she throws that left hook, I cover up, doesn't hit my head. Okay. Same thing on the other side. I'm going to point that lead elbow at her. I'm going to make sure I keep this hand up. So in other words, don't do that, because then they're going to follow with that other hand and hit you. So keep this hand up on your cheek, point that elbow, grab around the side of your head and your ear with your glove, and you're going to turn that front heel out just a little bit so that you're pointing. Okay, so when she goes for this right hook, I reach around and grab. Let's go this way. So when she goes for this right hook, I point that elbow at her and I block. She goes for that right hook and I block it. Yeah. So now we can work those blocks into our shadow boxing and into our work on the heavy bag to get us used to working them into sequences against a live opponent. All right, so let's say I'm shadow boxing here. It's a good thing to make these little hook covers into even reflex. So if your hands are up by your jaw, as soon as that opponent throws out that hook, you're able to just block it with that hook shield and bring it right back. So a good way to start working them in, maybe I'm attacking my opponent, they come back with a hook, I put that shield up and I return. Okay? So I throw jab cross, boom, boom, opponent goes for that lead hook trying to catch me with the check hook, I block it and I return. Okay? It's a good way to start introducing them. Then you can start countering off of them. So let's say I throw a combination, something like 1-2, long hook, I throw a kick, opponent comes back, jab, cross, hook, I parry, I cover it up, and then as I come back, I'm going to twist back and throw a long hook of my own. Boom, and then return with a nice hard cross. So as my opponent throws jab, cross, hook, I parry, cover, and then I return with a hook of my own. Boom, and bow. So as your opponent is coming towards you, you parry the jab, parry the cross, that hook comes out, point that elbow, okay? That hook is going to hit your arm and your bicep and your shoulder. It's not going to hit your head and hurt you. And then as you return, this heel is going to come down, and as this heel comes down, this one comes up, boom, and return. Okay, so that's a great counter to throw off of that. If you block that hook, you can come back with a hook of your own. You're wound up for it. Block and return. Now likewise on the other side, if somebody goes for a power side hook, we can block it here and we can return power side punch. Straight punch with our power hand right down the middle. So I block that hook and I come back. So I can throw a combo of my own. Maybe I go jab, straight knee, come back, hook, cross. My opponent comes back. If they jab, cross, hook, hook, I parry, shield, and then I come back after this, straight shot. So one more time, that would be jab, straight knee, hook, cross. Opponent comes back, parry, cover, straight down the middle with that power hand. Now on the heavy bag, we've got all the same principles, but it's just now we've got a target to hit with our strikes. But this target still does not have arms to punch us, so we've still got to use our imagination. But same principle still applies. So if my opponent goes for a hook on this side of my head and I block it here with a cover, I can come back with a hook on the other side. I'm wound up for it. So I block here and I return with that hook. So let's say I go 1-2, opponent tries to check hook, I block and I come back with a hook of my own. Okay? 1-2, cover, hook, cross. 1-2, they try to cover, boom, pow. Right, I can start off with a combination, maybe 1-2, straight knee, boom, opponent tries to check hook, I cover, come back, and counter back. 1-2, up to the ribs, opponent comes back with a check hook, cover, come back with a hook of my own. Now same thing on the other side. Now this is kind of a foolhardy fighter that's going to go for this hook, this punch by itself, but it will happen. So if your opponent goes for that power side, and you block it here, and you turn that front heel out a little bit, now we're wound up for that power side shot. So we come back with that right hand in this case, or if you're southpaw, then that's the counter for that left hook. So you cover that left hook and come back with that left hand. But for most of us orthodox, you're going to cover and come back. When they throw that right hand hook, you're going to cover, get that right hand hook to hit your arm and shoulder, and then you return with that right hand that you're wound up for. So maybe I'm throwing a combination, 1, 2, I hit the switch kick, boom, I back out. They go for that right hook, I cover, and then I come back. 1, 2, boom. And they go for the right, and reset. Working these hook covers and being able to slip into them quickly, working them when you don't even have a person throwing hooks at you, just making them part of your shadowboxing routine or your heavy bag routine is going to make them quicker to happen for you. It's going to make them into muscle memory, and it's going to make them reflex. So that when you're fighting and a hook comes out, because you've practiced it enough, that cover comes up without you having to think about it. If you've got to think about it, then that hook's going to hit you before it's going to reach. So we want to work these hook covers into our shadowboxing and the counters off of them. So if you catch an imaginary left hook, coming back with a left hook of your own, or if you catch an imaginary right hook, coming back with that straight right hand. There's other different ways to counter back, of course. Those are just 2 examples. But once you guys start thinking about using these hook covers in your shadowboxing and on the heavy bag so that you're simulating an opponent that is doing different types of attacks to you, and you're absorbing or dealing with them with defensive techniques and countering back. Cup and crop. See you guys next time.